Hey guys, my name is Kelly. Today's video is part 2 of a sustainability series that I started a few weeks ago, and in this video I will be talking about synthetic fabrics and sustainability issues related to them. So if you haven't seen the last video, I talked all about natural fiber and semi-synthetic fabrics, which are fabrics that are man-made, but they're made out of natural materials as the first input, and then they're processed in a way that is more similar to synthetic fabrics, and that involves a lot of chemical inputs and things like that. So if you want to watch that video first, in this video I will be talking about synthetic fabrics. So generally speaking, synthetic fabrics are all petroleum based, polyester, nylon, acrylic, and spandex, lycra, whatever you want to call that last one. And so in order to produce them, they have to extract fossil fuels, which is very damaging to the environment because it leads to biodiversity loss, which in turn leads to climate regulation issues in different areas. So that's the first thing to consider. There's a lot of layers to that. In addition to that, because they are petroleum-based and because they are essentially plastic, they're non-biodegradable. And so no matter what happens to them in their end life, they are probably, well, not even in their end life, while you're using them, they're going to be polluting the environment. So every time you wash your clothes, they obviously release fibers. That's what we see in our lint traps when we clean out our dryers. And those fibers are not all getting caught in the lint trap because some of them are getting washed out with the wastewater from our washing machine and going into the environment. So in areas where this water is just going straight back into the ocean or, you know, whatever waterway, then it is going into our animal life. It's getting consumed by sea animals. I can't talk today. So when we think about microplastic pollution, a lot of the times we think about other industries or just general plastics that we have in our day-to-day lives, plastic water bottles, things like that. But your clothes are also polluting in a very similar way because these little tiny fibers are ending up literally embedded into the flesh of sea animals, which if you consume seafood is something to consider as well with wild-caught seafood and things like that. So again, lots of layers to that issue, a lot of research. If you want to look into it deeper, I would encourage you to do that, as with anything I say in this video. But there's a lot going on there. So like I said, plastic. Polyester can be recycled, so that's one little redeeming value of polyester. But the other fabrics, because they're made slightly differently or have slightly different other inputs, they can't be as readily recycled, and so they aren't. And with that being said, polyester is recycled and can be recycled, but it's not something that's done on a super wide scale, and it can only be recycled if it's in its pure form. So if it's mixed with cotton or mixed with other materials, it can't be recycled, and a lot of the times polyester is mixed with other things. So again, something to consider. In addition to that, all synthetic fabrics are hormone disruptors or known carcinogens or both or whatever. They all have different issues because they have different things in them, but generally speaking, they're all bad for you. And, you know, we're surrounded by stuff like that every day, but I think it's important to think about what you're putting on your body, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. People that are working in factories producing these textiles are heavily exposed to that because there's also fumes associated with the heating of different things like heating plastic, burning plastic, things like that. So for people that are exposed to it all the time, you have to think about the people that are producing your stuff too and the issues associated with that, which again goes back to there are issues with that with natural fibers too, like I've said before, but you know. So yes, now I'm going to talk about a few specifics related to different fibers. I'm going to start with nylon. So nylon emits nitrous oxide, which in its production, the production of nylon emits nitrous oxide, which is a greenhouse gas 300 times more damaging to the ozone layer than carbon dioxide. So from just a general environmental standpoint, that ain't good. And the production of polyester and nylon as well use a lot of water and contaminate the water. And again, in a lot of countries that are producing textiles and apparel, a lot of that water is going straight back into waterways. It's not being processed out. And it's easy to live in a more developed country and be like, that's not my problem. But at the end of the day, looking at our history, looking at all of the background and why we've outsourced production, all of those things, it's our fault. And a lot of the times we're outsourcing things to countries that are not equipped to handle it and don't have the infrastructure to handle these things. And so to some extent we're accountable for this as well. So acrylic, specifically, has a key ingredient called acrylonitrile, which is also called vinyl cyanide. It's a carcinogen and mutagen that targets the central nervous system. So again, that's not good for anyone who is wearing or producing or sewing with acrylic, because according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, acrylonitrile enters our bodies through skin absorption from wearing clothing made out of acrylic fabric, as well as inhalation and ingestion. So specifically for those of you who sew, think about when you're cutting fabric, or if you serge your fabric too, like that's another step of cutting, those fibers are getting released into the air, especially with a serger, and you're breathing that in. So that's going straight into your body. So not only are you touching it, wearing it, but you're also breathing it in. That's something to think about, and that's something that I hadn't given a lot of thought to until recently. So I definitely will be thinking about that going forward. And acrylic fabric manufacturing also just involves highly toxic substances, which are extremely dangerous to the health of factory workers, and again, not good for you wearing it either. So yeah, that was really just an overview. I hope I didn't go too quickly through it. I didn't want to ramble too much, because I tend to do that. But I hope that that helped you. If you have any questions, please leave them below on this video or the last one or any future video I make. I would love to help get you guys the information you want and the information you need. So if you have any questions, please leave them below. And like I said, if you're interested in this, I highly encourage you to do some of your own research, because this is all just an overview and there's only so much I can say in a short little video. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave them below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.